Welcome to the Tribe UG podcast, episode number 13, season 3. As usual, I'm with a crew, I'm with a gang. Damzi.
Hi guys. Excited, episode 13. Today we have 1.5 guests.
1.5.
1.5 guests. So it's it should be an exciting episode.
Yeah.
These guys just called me a 0.5 out here.
So the lovely voice you're hearing.
And you don't even have cast.
The lovely voice that you're hearing is actually producer Hassan.
From the family Hassan.
It's normally behind the scenes, but today he's gracing us with his presence.
Yeah.
You have to erase from the family Hassan. Very.
You are loud. Don't deny your people.
I've denied them. Today is when I set the record straight.
Yes, but just imagine the conversation. You guys know that Hajati on top of the hill? Now Hassan.
Punchline.
It's a vibe.
I'll take that. So, Felix, you can remix the introduction.
No, I thought you were going to
say the producer.
I thought you were going to tell the people more about you before we.
Wow.
Vibe them.
The only thing they know, as they should, is I'm behind the scenes in front of them now.
Okay.
Well done.
Just in case they are wondering, Mark just disappeared on us.
By the way, guys,
the chopper landed around here. New environment. We have.
So Mark and Ian are not here today. We were just there minding our business. Then, like Hassan said, the chopper came. The guy spoke in French. Mark entered. Go on.
Okay,
so
but I have questions, you guys.
don't worry. Your questions are gonna be answered very
soon. As for
soon.
Ian, like that one, he just went back to village. Kampala yaganye.
It's difficult.
You woke up from the clan. You messed up
So
somewhere.
Mark, next episode, you're going to explain to us where you've been, which Kob Sinje, and what happened.
You guys, Mark may have been kidnapped, but you won't know because you're very okay with him disappearing.
He'll come back. He's like a wild cat. They go and then they return. They know where they are supposed to come.
Without the kittens.
Hopefully.
So far.
Felix, people are hearing a voice. People are seeing
people
a
are
guest.
hearing a
We need to
voice.
introduce our guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by a talented human being. We are joined by Daniel Omara, a person who regards himself as a specialist of humor, a person who believes today is the tomorrow that should have happened yesterday. So, guys, in brief, this man gave away the plot for Tenet. right now we'll be filming in Hollywood.
But
the whole movie.
But now
line.
here we are in Kampala, dealing with women and things like that. Omara, we're honored to have you on the podcast.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, man. I appreciate the invite. This is where we're hot.
Now we can also tell our people, celebs.
Every day they think we are joking. But
are there celebs who have been on TV?
Of course, far and wide.
Let me first feel myself. Emphasis on the wide.
In case you're out there and you're watching from, let's say, Belgium, Max people.
For example.
And this is the first time you're hearing of Daniel Omara. He's a stand-up comedian. He's an actor. He's a creative director. He's a writer.
Yeah.
He's a host. By that I mean events.
MC.
He has also done TV presenting. I know for a fact when we were running the Hip Hop Awards, the second edition, I reached out to him. He hosted the event. Like, I called this man in the evening at 6 p.m. The event is at 8 p.m.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, Daniel, are you available? He's like, first of all, how did you get my number? I have a manager for these things.
I was shocked, man. I'm like, the Hip Hop Award doesn't have an MC.
Wow.
But then I grew to understand the situation, man. It was an emergency.
Yeah.
And
there was cancellations and all that last minute.
And he came through. He killed it.
You're lucky I didn't have the PS4 by then. I wouldn't have left my house.
But thanks a lot.
My pleasure, man.
Now today we get to link up with you and get to know more of your story. But before we do, we have something called Song of the Week.
Yeah.
No.
Pretty much, it's a Ugandan song that defines how your week has been.
I just have to pick one.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think I may go with Kenneth Mugabe.
Which one?
Nachi.
Okay, why Nachi?
I don't know what I did. Like, no, I don't. I know Nachi is a name, but Chichi, what did I do? Like, you know those things where you have to understand why a woman is mad at you. That's the situation. I mean, that's been my week. And
I thought you're telling her, please be my lover.
no. Nachi, what is wrong with you? Like, relax. Because Nachi is like a reference to a lot of female Baganda names, right?
Yeah.
Nachi Bichi, Nachi Zibu, like that.
It's like Max Kobusinje.
Nachi,
Max Kobusinje.
So when you say Nachi, you've embodied a lot of women in your life. So I don't know what I did wrong. To an individual
Maybe
or
it's because
people.
it's a lot of women, and then
Well, I love Baganda women. I'm not going to lie.
Nachi, if you are watching, forgive Daniel.
Okay.
All our Nachis were good. Holla at your boy.
Hassan.
mine would be Gusulawano by Afri.
Okay. Why Gusulawano?
Gusulawano, mostly because it's produced by Wek, and I'm sure in the future she will be the one producing his music.
Let me tell you, I don't know a bigger Wake fan than our producer over here.
But then don't let that joke get over your head. Like, Hassan must have been sitting on this for a whole week.
I'm sure.
It's like, you know what?
Rehearsing.
The moment Mark steps away,
I'm going to-
and Ian, it's like this.
Today is the day.
Be like Sean Paul, sliding, grinding. You have to sneak it in there.
Yeah, that's mine.
Oh, wow. My song of the week is The Myth, Mal X. And in the very, very background, myself. Amen.
Well done.
Amen. I think it's it's a powerful song, and this week has been spiritual because you guys, things are rough. So it's been one
But
of those.
Salo week is around the corner.
Let me tell you, Salo, we cannot come any faster. Things are actually. Anyway, what's your song of the week?
Mine is This Is How We Do It by Keiko.
Nice.
I was scrolling through the timeline and I saw
And
she's back in the country.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
So we went back and
This is it.
dug
This
through
is
the
how we do
catalog.
it.
This is how we
This
do
is
it.
how we do it.
Yeah.
And Mark and Ian, if you're watching, when you are away, this is how we do it.
Do it, okay?
I was going to shout, damn, she thick. Then I realized you had moved on from Keiko.
Listen,
I can't say that about Mark.
okay.
Yeah.
There's a whole bill against it. Look, me, I just showed up for the party.
You really did. You really did.
Yeah. But Daniel, I want to take it from the beginning.
Yeah.
By the way, is it okay to call you Daniel? Or we have to.
Hey, look, as long as it has one of my names in it, I'm cool.
Okay.
Omara D.
Wow.
D for what?
It's a good question.
Yeah. And the answer is never. So, yeah, we're good.
So,
On point.
when we were doing a background check, I came across something where you are saying that you have only done 2 auditions. And if we look at the amount of work you've done,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work
Right.
compared to someone who has only done 2
two
auditions.
auditions,
In over a decade, like your career is like years and years.
14 good years, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole teenager.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
So, I'm a parent to my career.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
So you say, no matter where are your children? I am me. Hey, in diapers.
So, two auditions. You have all these roles you've played in the industry. How do you do it? How have you managed to survive on only 2 auditions? Guys go for auditions for years and years until they get that one breakthrough.
Yeah, everybody has done that. And for me, I think the thing is, it's not Umbu, I've only done 2 auditions.
Yeah.
I've had 2 major auditions that were successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
The most important auditions
The
in my
ones
life.
that you count, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
happened to be career-defining moments.
Right.
Because before that, I auditioned for Fun Factory?
Oh,
In my Essex park.
interesting.
Yeah. Tuanje was really nice. A bit too nice to tell me that I'm not the guy they needed. You get so, and I didn't get the dynamic. This guy gave me tickets for 2 weeks. No, come and watch the show.
Right.
Because 200 I know how to give bad news, and this is what I love about him. He's such a kind soul. He has trouble reporting negative things.
Okay.
Even just follow his social media. 200 isn't a troll or anything. He's just a genuinely
That's
nice
true,
person.
actually. Yeah.
Very
That's
chill,
actually
very
true.
polite, very calm, and I go to him in my S6 vac. I'm like, I would like to join Fun Factory. This is right before barbed wire hit TV.
Right.
Ooh.
So I go and I'm like, I want to jump in. I want to get into this thing. This guy gives me tickets for 2 weeks. I come, I watch the show, and eventually I just gave up.
Like that was your consolation prize.
That was my consolation prize. I got to watch the show. But in watching the show, I understood what he was doing. Years later, he was helping me gauge from my own perspective if I could survive this.
Okay.
Because sketch comedy is about the family dynamic. Fun Factory especially. These are guys who were OBs in what's that school that was prominent for arts?
Namasagali?
Namasagali.
Yeah, Namasagali.
Their OBs are not G's from Namasagali. They've known each other for a while. They've worked together for ages. They've been
So
buddies.
there's a family dynamic there.
Yes, there's that camaraderie that you don't just walk into and
That's
become
true.
a part of it. I was too young to understand it at the time. But when I joined the industry in 2009 is when I'm like, oh, this guy actually shielded me from embarrassing myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, props to him. I auditioned for Fun Factory. I auditioned for MTV VJ. That was Denzel's breakthrough.
Yeah.
After that, he went to Hot Steps. So everyone had their breakthrough at a different point. Meanwhile, I kept meeting Denzel at a bunch of these auditions.
Even after he got his breakthrough.
No, this was
that's
before.
Okay.
Because I knew him from Green Hill Academy. He was a
Ah, okay.
prefect. He was a prefect.
How did that make you feel to see that you've known someone for all this time and like their breakthrough has come before yours? You know, what was that like?
Well, first of all, he was older than me. So that helped.
Okay.
I wasn't on the same hustle level as him.
Okay.
Because I was in Sn.3 and he was in A level as a prefect. So we were at completely different levels. But I learned to respect that your hustle is different. Your breakthrough comes at its own time.
Really, when it comes,
Yeah, so
sure.
me, after auditioning from like 2007, it was like 2 years of auditions.
Wow.
Through my senior 6 VAC and campus, I was going through auditions. And then I auditioned for this one thing in university. And the guy is like, yeah, let's do a play. So we do a play in UCU and it's a hit. And that was kind of the beginning. It elevated a bit. A year later, Stand Up Uganda checked in because this was 2008. So that play helped console me for all the failed auditions. Because there's a point you get to after auditioning for so many things, you're like,
Maybe it's me.
And that happened for 2 years.
Maybe it's me.
Same way you look at relationships. Maybe I'm just not talented.
When you are sending a bunch of proposals,
We regret to inform you.
Now, for the proposals, this is even after you've become an entertainer and things still don't work out. So that's a whole other ball game. But I think I missed out on the MTV VJ gig. My audition made it to TV.
Oh, okay.
And my homeboys saw it and they were like, oh, you used my shirt. Thank you for snitching. I borrowed a t-shirt. I was a broke kid. I mean, I came from a good family, but I wasn't that investor type kid. Me, when you're broke, you're like, I accept I don't have money. I'll figure it out. Yet other kids are like, sell mommy's mattress.
You are not that entrepreneurial.
I was not that kid. I never escaped from school. I never went partying. I never went clubbing. I was a very polite kid.
That's a bit hard to believe, but okay.
It's hard. I went ratchet in my 20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My teenage self would have been disappointed. But it was fun, and it's something I needed to get out of my system. I wouldn't recommend you do it, though. There's a near-death experience every year. But all I know is after the bunch of failed auditions, I finally landed on Stand Up Uganda, and my friends had to persuade me to go for it. To this day, I don't understand why I was resisting. Like, I'd heard it most of my life. You can handle film. You can someone coming to visit home, and they're like, oh, your son is very interesting. I think he could do well on TV. But none of them had the channels to get me there. And one friend had DSTV in Namwongo.
Oh, sure.
Because Wongsville is not a particular area.
Wongsville.
I'm sorry, what did you call it?
Wongsville. Namuongo is Wongsville. Hey.
Well, I get that because like Natete is Natsville.
We are opening that as a porn site. Natsville. We are going and we are keeping it.
Anyway, we digress.
Wongsville, yes. So my homeboy, shout outs to Lado Edwin. This is the one guy who had DSTV in the neighborhood, and he saw the call for the auditions, and he's like, hey, tell our boy
to go. Yeah.
Because we hung with this guy in the bar. He doesn't even drink, but he's lit.
Okay.
And they're like, he's just funny. He's just the lumpen. I'm the type of guy they used to drag along for house parties because they're like,
just to entertain.
There's hot chicks there. Eh? You just
You
come.
have to make us look good.
Yes. Yet me, on average, I was the friend zone guy. You know that guy who's so funny? Women
That they
keep
don't
you
take you
around
serious.
for the fun, for the heartbreaking moments of their
I
lives.
was going to say you never made it Natsville.
I never made it.
Tough times,
man. Actually, hard times, just without the results. So
anyway,
it's not for a lack of hardness.
So after all those, you've landed the hostel. You've landed your auditions. You've gone through the hostel, the comedy, stand-up UG, and a lot of things are happening. You actually, I think, still back then, you're one of the first comics to be at Big Brother Africa. You're the first.
As the first comedian to perform at Big Brother Africa.
On the entire continent.
On the entire continent.
Oh, wow.
So there is that. So a lot of things are happening for you after you saying, now it's not you anymore. The world is seeing the comedian that you also did his friend. So,
You guy. So you go from invisibility to confusion. People don't talk enough about this. Before you're anything, you're invisible.
Yeah.
And that's the sad reality. I want to say the sad reality of a man's life, but I think if you're average in this world, you will be treated as such. But what people don't realize is average is normal.
that's true.
Average means you're a normal person, but everyone's looking for extraordinary.
Yeah.
And that was only attained after joining the industry and being consistent for a while. When people start looking at you like, okay, I see
There's
a plan.
something there.
Yes.
Yeah, there's something there.
Before that, they wouldn't even give you the time of day to talk to you. People were rude just because they didn't believe you existed.
Sure.
So it's a bit confusing when you go from being ignored, neglected, and rejected to being accepted by everyone. And you're like, okay, so what do I do from here?
Now what do I do? How do I act?
Yes, like the girls who would never talk to you all of a sudden are like, I want to come to your room and hang out. I'm like, I don't even have a room, but okay. Because it was, I had to be very conservative about a lot of things. Because the confusion is real. If you go into the industry and assume that because people are giving me attention, it means they like me or they want to help me, you are screwed.
Yeah.
Because the sad reality is, even if you drop from number 1 to number 3, they will treat you like a loser.
Yep.
This is
And
the
yet
reality.
number 3 is okay.
Number
number
three-
3 is good.
Number 3 is way above average.
Yeah.
Like way above average. Number 3 means you're less than 0.00000000000. Mob zeros after. A few zeros later. 0.1.
Yeah.
Representative of the population. Number 3 means you made it in a field where a lot of people are going to fail.
Right. But still.
Yeah, but still.
If you're not number 1.
If you're not number 1, it doesn't matter.
This is the time where people want to pit you against each other. Are you better than? Of those, who is better than the other?
And
So,
Salvador and I are tired of hearing that rhetoric. I know, yes, we've had our rivalry for 14 years, but it's a friendly rivalry.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I learned in the industry, you're going to be enemies with someone not because they're being mean to you, but because you have different objectives. You get, like, you're going for the same thing, but for different reasons. You're both pitching to the same company. And someone's going to use their advantage against you. So if someone says,
Isn't that life though? You have to use the advantages
use
that
your
you
advantages.
have. Yeah.
So if someone says, we wanted Omara, but Salvador, what do you bring to the table? And the guy says, I have a bigger social media presence. He hasn't sabotaged my career. He has just stated.
Yeah.
the fact.
What is real?
That
I hear
weighs so
you.
much in his.
Yeah.
on
So
his side.
what are your objectives? What are your plans as a company? And they're like, okay, our plans align with yours. They take him for the gig. Good. So it took me a while to understand the dynamics of the industry, how people treat you, how even the guys you work with, sometimes you're going to think this person hates me. And I won't lie, there are people who have genuinely hated me.
You can't avoid that.
Well, sometimes they don't hate you for any other reason other than you're a step ahead.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You can't avoid that.
You can't
There's always
avoid
going
it.
to be haters.
Yeah, always.
For sure.
But yeah, minimize the number. contrary to what people say. I'm not even going to lie. Contrary to what people say, haters mean you're successful. No. Sometimes you're just an a-hole. Let's be honest. You're just a horrible human being who doesn't get that you are the problem.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in haters being a source of motivation. I speak French. Those things. It's about understanding what the other person is trying to achieve and what you're trying to do. So the industry has been a lesson in life.
Like, I can only
towards
imagine.
getting stronger.
I feel like for everybody that we've hosted, I think the creative industry is it's one of those.
It's one of those.
It's one of those.
It's one of those where they don't give you a guide. You are figuring it out along the way.
But it's also one of those that has no script.
Exactly.
You know, like in more corporate jobs, there's a tried and tested method.
Yeah, our formula.
Unlike the creative industry.
The creative industry has a tried and tested formula.
Which is what?
Appeal to the masses, get as big a number and following as you can. Go for generic stuff that's easy to comprehend, understand, and remember.
But you're all appealing to the same masses. That's the thing. It's like, yes, the end goal is the same, but you all appeal. How do you?
Understandably, you appeal to the masses, but you appeal to your category of the masses.
Okay.
Like some people will go for the general overall audience, which I think is what Comedy Store did, and they did it well.
Okay.
Because Ugandans, we live a double life. Polite as we pretend to be, no matter the society we portray ourselves as, conservative and all those things, strict, anti-gay, bill, bichi, we are very vulgar, over-sexualized people. You get it's the reality. And you put that on stage, there will always be people to relate.
Yeah.
So I don't even judge, it's just capitalism. Someone understood the audience they wanted. Yes.
Yep.
Muhanji understood the audience he wanted to go for, and he knew what they wanted. He gave them what they wanted. So I'm not of the narrative that, you people, why is comedy so vulgar? I'm like, there's an audience for it. what do you want a person to do?
If people aren't showing up, people would switch up on the content.
Exactly. Yeah. So I went for a different kind of audience. I like the corporate crowd. I like older people. It's I find it easier to communicate with older people. And the older I get, the smaller my audience becomes, because when I was in my early 20s, the demographic was like 21 to around 45. Now I'm 36, and talking to people in their 20s is a whole other ballgame. It's not the same thing anymore. Like,
that's true.
Us in our 20s were a different category from guys in their 20s now.
That's true. I mean, a lot has changed.
Still messed up, but we're a different category.
Maybe a little less. I don't know.
Maybe a little less. Maybe slightly more conservative. More principled, more old school.
A little, but yeah.
Yes. Things were a bit different.
Everyone with their times.
Everyone with their times. So right now it's 30 to about 75. Target demographic.
Right.
Like you put me at a show where people are looking for profanity, vulgarity, and all these things, sensationalism and noise, I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. That's not my cup of tea.
That's not my cup of tea.
If I may ask, who are your comedic inspirations? Like growing up, who are the people that you looked up to and said, I like what this person does, or I want to be like this person, or they inspire me to do this? For
me, it will forever be Chris Rock.
Okay.
Yes.
I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
And I didn't even grow up on Chris Rock. That's the funny thing. I watched Chris Rock in Lethal Weapon. Was it 2 or 3? The one where he's dating the detective's daughter. And they go to a crime scene and there's a container full of dead Asians who are being smuggled into the country. And Chris Rock looks at the container and is like, oh my God, as if we don't have enough crime in America. Now we are importing victims. And I read that line. I was in primary. I think this is like 97, 98. And I listened to that line, and because I was the kid who used to read newspapers, my vocabulary was very on point. I'm not from like high profile family, but English has always been my language.
English is not your problem.
English is not my problem. Maths, yes. Language in general is not my problem. And I was intrigued by the way this guy phrased this sentence.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I like this man. Let me listen to him. Then I start watching the specials. You know, the two from the 90s, then the one from 2004. I'm sorry, I'm crap with names. But They Kill the Messenger, that whole vibe.
Yeah.
I watched Chris Rock and I saw him do stand-up and I was like, I like this.
Okay.
I just didn't know how to get into it. And then I stumbled upon Kings of Comedy. DL, Cedric the Entertainer. Okay, I say
Think
DL
Cat
because I don't know how to
Williams.
pronounce his second name. I said Hughley and people got mad at me. They're like, no, the G is silent. Screw you, by the way. So DL and friends, Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, what was the other guy? Bunny Mark. And I watched it and I was like, I've watched 4 men perform on a stage and all of them are individuals. I remember them all for different reasons.
They're all different, yeah.
And I started to compose. And I was watching with my friend Gonza. We've been friends for a while. We were best friends in high school. And I remember one of the girls we were sitting with like, so you want to do this? Because I got the DVD from home and took it to their place in Essex Vac to watch it with them. And I'm like, guys, I'm excited about this thing. And one of the girls asked, so you want to do this? You're watching to learn? And it had never occurred to me that I was watching to learn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Me, I was being entertained. And I'm like, this is interesting. And next thing I know, 3 years later,
You're trying to do the same thing.
there I am on a dark stage where it's 3 white judges. I swear. Just from a racial standpoint, I was concerned. When you're among the darkest people auditioning.
They might not see you.
No, you might get missed out because they're like, I hear vocals,
But I don't know who it is.
you might end up being like the Uganda national anthem. The audio has been there for years, but the video, nothing.
It's like
Anthem needs a music video.
the voice.
So it's that it was scary. It was scary, and I was shocked when they told me we only want a 1-minute audition. Psychologically, you are prepared to talk your butt off, and now they're telling you,
1 minute.
30 seconds to 1 minute. That's all we want. And then you get there, and the only thing I could remember was I didn't like how my contract looked. You had to sign a release form. All content captured here is free to be used on TV, bichi. Based on the laws, the copyright laws of 1975, I'm like, no one updated this thing. No one. And then I've always hated legalese, even in my academic pursuits, because I did a Duke. I'm a teacher by profession.
Really?
Yeah. And
Interesting.
yes, and there's a course called English for Specific Purposes where they teach you the jargon of different languages. And I always hated legalese.
Is it teacher in English?
English and literature.
Interesting. I would never have guessed.
I know. You could have guessed from the look, but
No.
teachers don't age.
It's a good one.
But yeah, I hated legalese even in the course unit English for
Right,
specific purposes.
right.
And then now I meet it. The beauty is I see the legalese, and the fact that I don't understand it for me is a source of questions and humor. I'm like, okay, this can be interesting. So I have the argument with the judges. I'm like, update the copyright laws of 1975 because I'm reading this thing and I'm seeing as of wherein, within or without, if any, also including, not exclusive to, but aside from, relating to, based within, but also not confronting the issue. And therefore, we have decided that you're going to be a part of this project. And I'm like, the only thing I understood was therefore.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
And that's what I took to the stage for my first audition.
Really?
The
That's what you took?
confusion
That was
of the contract.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was your audition.
I mean, that's interesting. That brings me to another question I was thinking about in terms of how are you, and I don't know if this answers it, but are you the type of person who observes a situation and picks your jokes from there, or is it based on experiences? Just going off of what you've just said.
I observe and pick, but I need prep time.
Right.
I am not, I'm a writer.
Okay.
I think in hip hop, it would be the difference between Tupac and B.I.G. Okay. Tupac was a poet. That's the kind of comedian I am. I need to sit down, structure my things, put them together, build it. The improv is for hecklers. You know those guys who talk back from the audience.
They're like, now I have to.
Yeah, that's where the improv is. Someone says something mean to you and you're like, but boss, I don't want to disturb you, but let me ask. Besides sports betting, what else do you do for a living? Like, you're not supposed to be insulting, but you're supposed to address the issue in the shortest time possible.
Right.
Because if you lose your authority to a heckler, you have lost your audience to that person.
That's very true.
Yet you're the one, they've won.
It's your show.
Yeah.
Can't allow.
So you can't engage in a conversation with a heckler. 1-2 hits, get back to your set. Yeah.
So in a time like this where you're a writer, you think through how you write your scripts, and a lot of what's happening in our environment is people look for a joke that would be way too far. and in our environments, a line that would get people to actually make phone calls for you to be picked up somewhere. Do you ever think about these things when you're making your comedy? You're like, I really have
tread
to
carefully.
These lines, I can't color out of these lines.
Yeah.
Have you had a joke that gets you into trouble?
I'm one of those people who's very comfortable working within the box. Very comfortable, because whatever limitations you give me, I will respect them. I'm a man of rules. Law and order. Yeah. You give me the protocol, I will follow it, but I will make the most of my time within that box. So you let me out of that box, you've opened a whole other
That's on you.
That's how I operate, right?
Okay.
I did a joke at my special. This was last year in October. And I was sure the drone was coming. But, I was talking about Bad Black being... the brand ambassador of an academic institution.
Oh that one.
Which
the
for
one
me
that did a concert.
Yeah, the same one that did a concert.
The same one that
a
did
year
a
later.
concert.
Yeah. Now, as a teacher, this is unacceptable. Bad Black social media handle is at Masolo Queen.
Yeah.
This is the face of an academic institution. I wouldn't take my kid there as a parent.
No, absolutely.
But at the same time, I'm not mad at Bad Black for taking the money.
True.
She was given a gig. That's not on her.
It's not on her.
That's not
for
her
sure.
fault.
Yeah.
But we have to admit that having Bad Black as the face of an academic institution is like having Otafiri as the face of a beauty product.
Yeah.
My drone is pink.
Your drone is pink.
That's all I'll say. And that line, the audience went, ooh. I was like, yeah, I'm in trouble for this one, but let's continue.
I think as of today, you are not in that drone alone. Even us and the production guys, everyone.
You.
At a moment there, I was like, Damsi's not laughing because she knows something. Whoever is laughing is going to be that I'm like, but look, Damsi, you should tell us these things.
Yes,
but if you thought about it objectively, you could replace Otafiro with anyone.
Anyone.
Clever J, even Palazzo. There's a long list.
Please don't.
And Miss Uganda that was voted in by the military.
Palazzo, you might have a show next week based on a beating.
Palazzo needs to know I'm not alien skin. Like I'm from Wongsville, I can fight. I just prefer not to. He's bigger than me. That's why I'm not walking into the fight fair.
Just prefer to be Natsville in the field, but you really can go to the roots and then.
Me, I figured out the formula to winning a fight. Use your local language.
I feel like that's a formula to win an argument.
No, it's a formula to win a fight.
Even a fight, like a physical fight.
Yes, because for us guys, if your argument escalates beyond a certain point, women can yell at each other for 20 minutes and not get physical.
Sure.
If a guy shouts at you, it's on. Not even shouting. If he gets in your face, it's on. Like there's so many levels where it's on. But you can shut it down with the language. Speak your language and then put the scary English word at the end of the sentence. That's the formula.
For example.
Like you're summoning some gods into this argument.
If you want to use the metal rock voice, just be dramatic and be like Ole Pangyong at maybe Toji and you will die. Bas. Just make it even.
You see, that's the thing. It would mind fuck you. Like, what did
you put a fear of God in it.
But they got the last part. You will die. Or just make it more medically oriented. Pikanate working intensive care unit. Like, just let a person understand where they are going after this. You understand? This is the formula. I'm going to tell you guys a secret. Northerners are not particularly strong. We are hard people. We have endurance. We can take a beating.
Right.
Yeah. But if you notice with Northerners, we avoid a lot of fights just by talking. We talk our way out of situations by threatening a guy. Like, I'm not messing with that reverse cryptic stuff. This guy may be summoning a pentagram, the Sitani in Luo. And you don't know what the devil looks like in Luo. It's already black in English.
So what about God.
Saturn from the north is sunburnt, man. So you don't want to mess with a person. You have to know how to get out of situations. So that's how I've been surviving, man.
Interesting.
So you again, you have done this. You've done stand up. Now you're on TV. Things are going all well, and then all of a sudden you disappear.
Like the Avatar.
You disappear.
The world needed him the most. He vanished.
You disappear like for quite some time. So I don't know whether it's regroup or anything like that. But then after you built back and then you came back. So what I want to understand is for creatives out there watching, when you reach that moment where you are like, you know what, things are not working out, I need to sort of like remove myself from the public eye or from the creative space. How do they now build back and bounce back with purpose?
I think the most important thing as a creative or an entertainer is you have to learn to let go of your old self.
Evolution is
Reinventing yourself.
Yes. That's true.
I spent at least 5 years trying to be the old Omara. Trying to achieve the high point I had in my career in like 2010, 2011, there when the hostel was a hit, when Mic Check was on TV, when the Airtel ad was on screen, everything on screen had Omara in it. Because Mic Check was 3 times a day, hostel was 4 days a week.
Yes, 4.
Like, and then the Airtel ad is playing every other couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So there was, let me even call it a saturation. And I hated how people used to call me, were you on TV? I'm like, I know.
That was the point.
Yes, and the follow-up thing you always made me laugh. Because they're like, I just wanted to see if you would pick up. They thought hostel was live.
Oh my God.
I thought they were trying to check to see if the celebrity status has hit. Like, if my guy can still pick up my number.
There's a secretary picking up the calls. Like,
But yes, I struggled to grow because I was fixated on the Omara of 2009 to 2012. I wanted that profile. And I forgot that I had to adapt to the new me, the situation you're in. I adjusted financially, I adjusted psychologically, because as an entertainer, you need to know when you're you're dropping.
Yeah.
When your status is dropping, you need to be very aware of it.
sure.
So I went to TV with one heart, knowing very well, okay, I came from a comedy background and film. Now I'm in TV. I need to be ready to learn and grow.
Right.
And I was there at Vision Group on a hustle. And at first I was angry that I didn't get the same respect I had as a comedian. But then I realized this is a different field where you're the least experienced person.
Yeah.
Sure.
So allow.
That must be a humbling experience.
Very humbling. I took a border in the rain to do interviews at, what's that thing called? Not KFC. There's that university in Kansanga.
KFC.
I'm sorry. It's where people go to eat.
Okay.
Yeah. Good food, by the way. KIU has good food. So I came back in the rain, and at that time I was dealing with DJ Bush Baby. He was my mentor. And he told me, now that you've gone through the rain, I think you're ready to understand what's required of you in the industry.
Really?
Because as a comedian, you could not challenge me. As an actor, it was very hard to challenge me. But as a TV presenter, there was so much to learn.
Yeah.
And then they put me on radio, and I hated radio because, I can't see my audience.
Yeah.
TV and radio were tough for me because I couldn't see an audience. I wasn't getting immediate feedback unless I had a co-host or something. And that, I think, is the struggle for a lot of stand-up comedians. Actually, a lot of comedians struggle with other fields of entertainment and comedy as well.
I think there's
Yeah,
a
because
level of energy you pick
You
from.
feed off the energy of the audience.
Right.
Sometimes
Yes.
you see I'm bombing, then I'm like
You figure it out.
Yeah,
but
you
with
figure it
radio,
out.
you're there talking to yourself for 45 minutes. You don't know if anyone's listening or if they care. So don't try to replicate the person you were. Be the best version of the future you
are
want.
now.
Yeah. And then work towards it. Because you can't negotiate a price you don't see yourself getting.
True.
Yeah. Speaking of you, I think recently I see there is a marriage, kind of. You've talked about Comedy Store, the marriage between music and comedy. Huh? Okay.
You are ready to deny your imaginary wife.
Marriage between comedy and music, which you didn't take so well. And you're like, I think the music is killing the anticipation for the comics. And then you say, when you go back in your time, it's 2011, and you guys had trouble with artists back then, and you think it has not gone away. So how do you view music and comedy on the same stage?
Okay, so I have a weird conspiracy theory about this.
Sure.
Right? First of all, I don't have a problem with music in comedy. I believe art forms should blend together. There should be a merger so that you get the best entertainment when you go hear someone sing, another person does poetry, another person
And a
does
great
comedy.
song with the myth anyway. So I'm like, hey, you've placed yourself there.
Yeah, and one of my best friends is a rapper. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind having him perform at my show.
Sure.
I have a problem with music closing comedy events. and being the highlight of a comedy show. That's my problem.
Okay.
A lot of people have taken it that I don't like that musicians are in comedy. No, this has been a constant. But for me, it's unregulated. If the biggest face on a poster for a comedy show is a musician, I have a problem with that.
Okay.
Because you'll never see a comedian close a music event.
No.
No.
Ever. Now, respectfully, stand-up comedy is on average, 15, 16? For me, it's 13, 14. But then before us, we had Pablo, who had been there for at least 4 or 5 years before we checked in. So respect to him, give him his props. But we can't argue that because it's a younger art form, therefore it needs to be supported by music and needs to be dependent on music. Because what happens is, you put music as the priority, guess which audience you're going to get?
The people who are there for the music.
A music audience.
Yeah.
And music audiences treat music as a passive event. You can be at a concert with your beer, hollering at a chick, right? While drinking. And the song is in the background. And you turn and say, whoa, that is my song. And then you go back to vibing. You get. And you'll always catch up with the song. I've attended Blankets and Wine and all these events. I'm always jazzing someone else. Even when the performer is on stage, we are vibing, right? But we come back to the jam. You don't do that with comedy.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy is a listening art.
Yeah, it requires
Be
you to pay
attentive.
attention. Yeah,
So what sucks is when you get on stage and the audience is on their phones,
because they're waiting for the music act.
The artist is not here
Right.
yet.
and the profanity is a result of this. Because the comedians have to work 10 times as hard to
get
entertain
your
an audience that
attention.
didn't come to watch them in the first place. That is my argument.
Right.
I've never been against music and comedy working alongside each other as art forms. The incident in 2010, 2011 was we had Chameleon and Bebe Cool backstage.
Yes.
And they both refused to open the show because they couldn't decide who was bigger. And
Wow.
it pissed me off. I was like 20, 22, 23. But the guys, Alex Mohanja and Salvador will tell you, I'm a very opinionated person.
Yeah.
And me, I'm the type of guy who goes on a rant when I when I snap. Diplomatic rant.
But you rant.
I'm
say all the
ranting
same.
either way. And I was like, listen, guys, this is unsustainable. Keep this out of the industry because artists' egos, musicians'
Yeah.
egos
They have no bounds.
are going to be detrimental to our
They're
platform.
going to always show.
Yes,
Yeah.
and because for them, it's not even about proving to the audience who's bigger. It's about proving to you who's bigger. So you tell Chameleon, why don't you go first? I've never understood what that guy is saying. Me, I just hear random growls.
Random girls.
It's like Scooby-Doo speaking Luganda. And then Baby Cool is on the other side, big is big, it's swelling. I'm like, what is up with these guys' voices? And I was pissed off. I mean, they have my respect for the work they've done as artists.
Yeah.
But that day, the audience was mad at us for not starting the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Without realizing we couldn't start the show without the artists who are going to perform at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And back then, it wasn't problematic because the musicians opened the event.
You guys closed it.
And if the music fans left, we still had the comedy crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's entirely dependent. You tell someone, are you coming for comedy night? And they ask which musician is performing. It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
It hurts as a pioneer in
must
the
suck,
industry.
yeah.
All the work you put into building this brand and this comedy art form is now dependent on a whole other art form. I find that very disrespectful, to be honest. But
That's
it's our
true.
fault.
We allowed it to happen.
We allowed it to
in a
happen.
way,
Made
yeah.
the invitations.
Bet the invitations. We can't fight capitalism.
True.
So
Find a way to make that money.
in the same vein, I'm not mad at people like Alex Mohanja, like, oh my God, you ruined the industry. No, he did what he had to do
To make money.
to make money and get through where he
For
wanted
sure,
to be.
yeah.
So it's not from a place of anger. It's just we need to take the industry back. Or we are going to be a sport in history that is remembered for having existed once upon a time.
Sure.
It's like those districts that have been absorbed. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. I want stand-up comedy to thrive as an independent
And
art
to have
form.
its own stage.
Because if we allow it, music will take over everything.
So for me, it's I think the comedy industry has evolved a lot from the time, because there was a period of time when, oh my God, stand-up comedy was, you know, like there
was
was a
really
show
huge.
every week.
Yeah.
There was, you know, like it had its moment of
Almost
like
every day of that week. Tuesday,
right,
you go
yeah.
to
So
this club,
it had
Wednesdays
it had
this,
its
some Thursdays
moment,
this.
and
Yeah.
it seems like that has sort of gone down. I don't know if it's an effect of COVID or like a number of other factors as well. But like, how have you, from the time you started to now, how would you say the industry has moved, and what is the evolution? Are we getting better? Is it, what's the direction we're going, and are you happy with it as a comedian?
I'm happy with the growth. I have questions about the direction.
Okay.
Because
growth in the sense that there's more people embracing and doing comedy.
Yes.
And there's more people going to comedy shows.
There's more people going comedy shows. There's more people embracing comedy. The turnover rate is higher.
Right.
Because in the beginning, it was like one comedian for every 100 who tried.
Okay.
You get. So, but now we're at like 1 in every 50.
Okay.
So it means people are learning faster. They're understanding the craft more. They're getting it. They're getting into the vibe. So we don't have necessarily ignorant performers stepping on stage who don't know their thing, right?
Right.
The problem I have with the direction is we are known as a vulgar craft. And we are the one art form that has to clean up our name constantly. Constantly have to be on the defensive. I have an issue with that direction because we were known and respected as people who knew what they were talking about.
True.
Right? The mic check era up to about the Comedy Files era, this is 2009 through to about 2014-15, had a very different vibe in comedy.
Yeah.
At some point, people got tired of the comedy because the novelty wore off. And then the frustration of 2011, 2012, when the money was being stolen by management, sort of led every comedian into a burnout. So yes, the criticisms were genuine. Of the comedians are losing it. But we didn't even know what a burnout was in our own art form because we were the pioneers.
Right.
So we had no idea. My beef then was the media didn't bother to come to the events to offer criticism. They based on public opinion and just wrote, someone posted on Facebook. That was my issue. I don't take criticism from people who were not active at the event. But around 2016, 2017, it changed. Again, we had this new wave of comedians who I'm very happy for. And when I say new wave, I mean new wave of faces to recognize. Some of them had been in the game longer than us.
Sure.
Mariachi, for example, was there before us. Madrata and Chico were there before us. First, we're the class of 09. Salvador, Muhanji, Napoleon, Cotilda, myself. Mendo blew up in 09, but he had been there before. Pablo, same thing, he had been there before. And there were generations after that. When I stopped keeping track of performers was around 2007. There were too many. Until that point, I knew every comedian by name.
Wow.
By name. It was my job to track them because my role has always been talent recruitment and training. I knew them by name. I lost track at some point and it was both exciting and frightening.
At the same time, I can imagine. Yeah.
Because I didn't know who to recommend, but I really wanted to put the new faces out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Salvador comes in with the comic and creates a whole other new wave of comedians. Before that, we had the class of 2010. Conan Tumusime. That guy he has been around. He just blew up recently, but Conan has been around. Omukebete, Smart Ayocha, the guy who stammers. Ronnie McVex. All those are the class of 2010. 09, the Cotildas. 2014 is the Okello Joshuas, Emeka Collins, Akite Agnes, that Kobushe Shenansi, that era. It was a whole other ball game. Nowadays, I'm worried about the lack of mentorship. I'm worried that there's so many comedians walking into the industry without understanding the rules. I'm worried about the content theft. Because much as we fought back then, you respected your buddy's content. Alex will call you and say, Omara, there's this joke you did. It was about this, that. I wanted to add like a whole other 5 minutes to it. But I need your permission to borrow that set.
To pick up that. Really?
There's that respect. There's a code. There was a code in the industry. That's what I believe. There was a code.
Interesting.
But now I see one person do a joke. I see it with a whole other person. And I'm like, wait, did you ask? Did you change anything? Did you enhance? Did you improve the joke in any way? Or you just went, listened to someone do a joke and you took it?
And did the same thing.
Yeah, now that kind of kamanyiro is the stuff I'm fighting against in the industry. Because a lack of mentorship leads to unnecessary beefs. Because people don't understand the rules. Someone will take your joke in English, switch it to Luganda and perform it.
Wow.
And it will sound funnier in Luganda. That's the irony.
So you won't be remembered.
You won't be remembered. And when you try to claim the joke, they're like, you're just angry because it's bigger than you.
So pretty
that's so
quickly.
interesting.
The rules are necessary.
I want to ask, don't you think part of that reason why that is happening is because of digital? Because digital, I'm going to set up my phone,
Yeah.
throw up the joke online, post it. People engage, it gains traction, and then I get a following. Then it gets to my head that, you know what, since I have these numbers of people following me, I'm good. I don't need guidance from Omara. I don't need guidance from Salvador. Don't you think part of that is digital?
The digital age has changed things, because when we started comedy, digital was not that big.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
that's true.
Facebook was for Twakowa. You remember the Twakowa page? We just go and rant in Luganda, where people were just mad at everything. Twakowa matchboxes. I'm like, why? What did
You
they
need
do to
them. How are you going to like the
them? What?
Sigiri? Come on now. Come on now.
Priorities.
Yes. So for us, it wasn't really a thing. The reason we did 10 minutes a week per performer, every week you had to have 10 minutes ready.
Material.
If you stretch to 20, it means you're having a good night. But you had to be ready. So we used to rehearse as a crew. We rehearsed as a team. We sat together. We built material with each other. Good. And that family unit has never gone. It has never disappeared.
Cool.
There's a whole thing called New Material Night. It's somewhere in Bukoto, Green Bistro. A small bar like this where comedians just meet and go through material they've just written.
Right.
You can see someone typing on their phone as someone else is performing, and they're just typing because as someone else performs, you're picking up ideas. You're like,
inspired you,
okay, inspiration. And then they go on stage with their phone and they're like, okay, so these are the jokes I've written, And then you start.
Be nice to me.
Not even be nice. It's a room full of comedians and a small audience. So
it's okay.
You get better. We're not going to be nice. Get better. That is the rule. And you perform your material. And then after, people will surround you and be like, okay, you could have gone in this direction with this. Cut this out of the set because it doesn't add any value to the punchline. Like, drop this, go here, do that. There's that camaraderie in the industry whereby if you don't want mentorship in comedy, you are trying very hard to avoid it because it's free. Pablo, Mendo, Timothy Nyanziko, Tilda Inapo, Ann Kansime, myself. There's mentors all over the place just waiting to teach because we don't want... I have a problem with TikTokers on comedy stages. I swear, you guys. Allow me to say this.
Yeah.
I have to say it. When did TikTokers become stand-up comedians?
So that actually, I wanted to ask a question in that light. Like, we've seen people now with the coming of digital and stuff like that. Someone posts some funny content. Oh my God. And now I'm a comedian. I can't be told. I can't be talked to, you know? And like, fine, they're doing comedy, they're acting, they're whatever. But I don't know. How do you feel about that? Because I think there's a very big difference between being able to be funny on TikTok and stand-up comedy.
Very different. TikTokers are not trained to handle hecklers.
Does it piss you off though?
It pisses me off when a TikToker is disrespectful or adamant about the learning process.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, my issue is that if you're willing to learn, we are willing to teach. But I saw recently on social media, how did Salvador get a gig in Tanzania? He's not even that popular on TikTok. I'm like, you stupid.
I saw it.
You get.
I saw that tweet.
What a myopic.
And I was like,
thinking.
You TikTokers need to calm down. I have maximum respect for TikTokers who create original content. Maximum. Not these ones who put themselves in a corner of the screen and point at the person who's actually talking. That one.
It's like that face. And
I'm like, nigga, what value are you adding to the video besides putting yourself there?
Right.
F off. Like, the people who mime, I'm sorry, no. Because musicians can't mime their own songs that they wrote.
Yeah.
You're miming and you're getting famous for it. That's not the category of TikTokers I have respect for. People who create original content.
Original material. I'm
with them. But would you consider them, how do I put this? Are they also still considered comedians? Because... Well, I guess yes, but like you can't take that and put it on a stand-up comedy stage. You might not be able to, right?
It's impossible because Kansime had to learn stand-up comedy, so she had something to export.
Right.
Her background is in theater.
Okay.
Very good at sketch comedy. Very good actress. Very good in radio drama. Very good in anything drama-related. Stand-up is a whole other beast. It's a whole other beast which you have to be willing to learn. We went through school for this. Al Projas and Joe Parker, two South African guys. trained us for like a week and a half.
Oh, wow.
Before the competition began, with notes, with practicals, physical comedy, writing content, critical thinking, all these elements. This is knowledge that is free in the industry. So when I see a TikToker saying, this guy is not a good stand-up comedian, I can do better, I'm like, normally I don't put people on stage to die.
Yeah.
And this is why I emphasize training. But if a TikToker is not listening, I will put you on stage to die. And I have a problem. I've watched so many of them die because the audience is excited to see you because you're from TikTok.
Oh, we've seen you on TikTok.
Yes.
But, oh my God.
That excitement dies down very quick if your set is not consistent. That's the message I'm putting out to the TikTokers. Be willing to learn because we are willing to teach. But we don't look at them.
TikTok and
Or stay
don't
on
criticize.
Yeah, because that's a platform which,
Yeah, stay
which is
there.
not controlled.
Do your
and then-
30 minutes
but the
or
disrespect-
rather 30 seconds
I think the
of,
disrespect is where the
something.
problem is.
We don't view them as competition at all.
Can't be.
It's a
Can't be.
completely different
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
If anything, we respect them for taking up the new age communication methods.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
props.
yeah.
I would learn from a TikToker about TikTok. I wouldn't go on TikTok and be like, nah, I'm the biggest TikToker because I'm a stand-up comedian. Reciprocate that energy. Being famous doesn't make you good at something.
That's true. You can be famous for shit.
You can be famous for nothing.
Oh,
So
completely
Dan, I
nothing.
wanted just a little bit of a music thing. So you're big on mentoring, and that's what you've been telling us about. And then so I give you something. You are, because you've been around for over a decade, a legend of your craft.
Oh, stop.
A legend of your craft. And I would put it to you. So we have you're a manager. I think you're a manager of a rapper. What would be the 4 things you tell an unhinged young rapper who maybe thinks they're closer to Jay-Z and Thames more than they are to Navio and Lydian Mbabazi? What are the 4 things you tell them? You're managing them, so you're not even telling them, you're managing them. 4 things you would think are strong points to go with.
Well, number 1, I would say rap in the language you sound best in. Honestly.
Yeah.
GNL sounds weird rapping in English to me.
It has never
Very
worked.
weird.
We all agree.
I am a huge fan of GNL Zamba. I love GNL Zamba, but when he raps in English, it's still good.
But it's not.
It's not as fluid.
Okay.
No.
It's rap in the language you base. If I rapped in English, you'd look at me and be like, yeah, those bars were hard, but your accent is a bit off. When I rap in Lu, it's a whole other vibe. Like, just be in the language you're comfortable in.
Yeah.
Because imagine Kenneth Mugabe singing English. I don't think it would sound the same.
Comfortable, he does.
He's very
He does play with the language.
But he
really-
brings it in a
He
bit.
brings it in the
Like
language that he
it's
knows.
like he brings the English in Uganda.
Yeah.
English in Uganda.
Yeah.
What? You are who? Be on the vibe.
Very
Right?
intentional, man.
Yes,
That's
I would
very
say
good,
be
yeah.
deliberate about how you want to be remembered. This is the second thing. Be very deliberate about how you want to be remembered.
Sure.
I want my legacy to be one of someone people are comfortable inviting to their house on a Sunday for lunch with the family.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which, for me, I think is something that's been lost over time.
In the music industry.
Generally, just
Okay.
even in comedy.
Okay.
Because if you look at it carefully, a guy like Salvador used to be fairly vulgar.
Right.
When he got married and had kids, he changed. He realized, oh, okay, the single guy operates one type of way.
Now, yeah, this is a different level.
I'm now building a legacy for the kids. I have 11 nephews and nieces, and all of these kids look up to me. So it's in my best interest if I'm going to have any authority as an uncle in the family.
Yeah.
You get, because you can't be telling your nephew, don't do drugs, yet you're there like, no. The kids will look at you and be like, but this is the plan I thought, uncle.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. What's it gonna be?
And now your brother has to say, I love you as a brother.
But
bro,
don't come back to my house. You're not invited for Easter.
exactly.
I'll meet you in the
So
village.
think of the legacy you want to leave behind.
Sure,
It's
sure.
important.
Right.
Because for me, my family is an extension of my career.
Cool.
My parents are church elders at All Saints Cathedral.
Oh.
I represent a family brand legacy. So I can't just be there for it's not even about. And then the other thing I would say to a rapper or any artist joining the industry, please stay close to the people who love you. Stay close to the people who love you. If you have family in this industry, you have an extra layer of shielding from the crap this industry is going to throw at you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you people know this. This industry is full of orphans.
Well,
Zero parental guidance. And then you get management that's going to take advantage of you.
True.
And then you're in the industry and most people are thinking, I can do this alone. I can learn fast enough and adapt. You get. But truth be told, sometimes you're going to be asked for things that you can't deliver.
Right.
It's not even within your job description. You're just like, what the hell is this person telling me? You need people behind you who are like, step back. You don't need that deal. People who genuinely care for you and look out for your best interests. This is not just about day ones. But I come from a family where my brother, my sister, and my sister-in-law will follow me to every event I'm doing.
Right.
And they will pay to get in.
Not those things of some free tickets.
Nah, not some free tickets. Those people, I swear. So, and they will pay to get in. My parents were there with me through Stand Up Uganda.
Oh, wow. That's
the beginning.
dope.
Even if I fought with my dad over doing comedy, in prioritizing comedy over education, that was a fight. But my mom stepped in and, I'm lucky to have both parents. I'm lucky to have 5 siblings. I'm lucky to have people in the industry who I can run back to and be like, this thing is kicking my butt. And they're like, first sit. First sit here. Eat food, what, then we'll talk. You need that. Never lose it. If you have a support system in the industry, keep it. Even if it means leaving the industry for your support system, sometimes it may be necessary. Catch a break.
Sure.
Best advice I'll give at the end for a rapper joining the industry or anyone getting into entertainment, keep your dick in your pants. Listen, it needs to be said. It needs to be said. Most of the issues you're going to face in your career.
What are the detrimental effects of not keeping it in?
Most of them are 3-letter acronyms. STD, UTI, HIV. I'm like Snoop Dogg up in here. The LBC and the 213. Come with me.
HIV.
Snoop D-O-double-G, Simanyawichi, KCC, FC. You could keep going. So many things could go wrong. And I know so many artists who've been derailed by the urges they can't control. I've also struggled with it. I've had my share of addictions. But I can't go into the detail. But yeah, they've been there.
Yeah.
And you have to fight them and come out of them.
It also comes with the territory. But I think you need to be mindful enough to keep your eye on the prize.
Yes.
Because that can be the thing that takes you down.
And listen to your people. It's important that you as an artist have people you're answerable to.
If your people are telling you the wrong things.
Yeah, because the industry is going to fuel you towards content creation.
Sure.
And career growth for those who are funding your career. Your family is looking at your well-being as an individual, not as a celebrity or as a... My dad still tries to put me on the back of a pickup, but we go and fetch water because he doesn't see me as a celebrity.
Right.
He's like, this is my son. We washed you when you were young. You were running around naked in the compound. First, wear some slippers and jump on the back of the car. We are going to Uganda prisons to fetch water. This was the days in Namuongo.
Wongsville. I don't think I've ever addressed Namuongo any other way.
Where are you? I'm in Wongsville.
I'm in
Wongsville. It says the Wongsville of Vietnam. Wongo. Choose one.
Damn.
And my dad would wake me up, and this is like 2010, 2011. The hostel is at a high. I can't go anywhere without
before
being
you feel like
recognized.
you're a star. You're
Like,
going to fetch
get in the back
water.
of the pickup. We're going to fetch water. I'm like, Dad, do you not see?
Man, a star.
And my mom was
the
always
statistics. Man is international now.
Google me.
I'm on the TV.
And my mom was always the one reminding him. Put him in the back seat at least. You can't have him on the back of the double
That
cabin.
mother's amazing.
My mom is the swag man. My dad is your typical nerd. For him, it's
okay.
Does it work? Okay. He's not bothered about aesthetics or how it looks. No. My mom is the one who's like, it needs to look good. We have chairs, but they need to look nice. They are practical, yes, but they need. So it's that balance between the two.
Right.
And it's beautiful. So don't drop the people. If you have a family that cares for you, please stay close. It's important. Those are my tips to anyone who wants to join the industry. Also, bonus one, learn to negotiate. Most of your suffering is going to come from taking deals where you know you're not getting what you're worth, but you still have to do the work.
Do you encourage artists to, I don't know if the right thing is lead the negotiations or at the very least be present for them? Because some people have management and some people choose to manage themselves.
Yes.
Right? That's a different question on whether you think it's best to do it yourself or, But then when it comes to negotiation, I think for many artists, sometimes they're not even there.
Often they're not even there.
But those that have management.
But that is not the problem, because that it shows a certain degree of star power. You send someone to handle it.
Okay.
Sure.
It's like I've been at events where I'm emceeing, and a handler from Swangs Avenue shows up, and they're like, "Winnie's here, but she's only stepping out of the car when you're ready to announce her arrival on stage." There's a swag to that, where someone looks at it and they're like, hey, the artist is not here, but he has people talking to him.
Are you hearing how I'm going to become? I'm telling you, I'm taking notes.
Yes, but it comes with a degree of responsibility attached, right?
Street cred, everything.
Yeah,
so you're like, okay.
You have to be a brand worth commanding that.
I've earned this.
So, me personally, I've handled my negotiations myself, and I sucked at it, and I handled it myself because I needed to learn how to handle it.
Right.
Because I failed with management a long time ago. Not because people don't know how to manage. Because people don't know how to manage my brand.
The way you want it to be managed.
The kind of audience I want.
Right.
The kind of vibe I'm going for. Someone booked me into a Bouquet de gig in 2011. What's it?
Embuti.
How good is your Luganda?
I'm scared of completing the word because I know I'm going to mess it up.
How good is your Luganda?
Horrible.
Okay.
Horrible.
That
those guys of Bana Kampala.
That's why they just. That's why. What is it? That's why Richard didn't give you the gig. You are not going to manage.
Honestly, yes. I'm not going to lie. And the guy, he booked me into a gig. For a Bouquet Day event where I don't even speak Luganda.
Yeah.
Like, just take the money. Just take the money. Go there, make a noise. They see you on TV, just shout. I'm like, no, I'm not taking the gig. And they were furious.
Yeah, because he's already like negotiated and committed
like,
you or whatever.
Yeah, you missed out. You're going to miss out on a gig. Who is going to be there? Or a meeting? I'm like, guys, this is not the audience.
For you.
My Luganda is sketchier.
But you can get a Rolex, right?
Oh, properly.
You can get a Boda.
Who can? I can get a Boda. I can ask
get
for
a
water.
Rolex. You can ask for
and he can talk Natch into taking him to Natsville.
That's what matters.
Nachi and Wongsville. We are steady.
That's what matters.
You officially have the same package as Mark.
By the way, Nachi spoke fluent body language, and I'm very good at that.
No, but you and Mark, same.
Same Luganda
Mark's
packages.
Luganda is used for songs.
With that guy.
So he will sing the song in Luganda purely. For a Boda guy, for a Rolex for others. Ask him to have a full conversation with you. Jokes, by the way, jokes. Jokes. I think it's the French that confuses you, Mark. Eh?
Man.
I think it's the French, but okay.
Meanwhile, L1 influence is real. Your first language is going to mess up every other language you learn. That's why I don't get mad at people who don't speak proper grammar. I used to be a grammar Nazi because if you're a teacher of English language,
that's true.
Yeah.
You're judgmental about grammar. You hear Sebagala saying, I'm here parked at owner's risk. I'm like, that is not a location. That's a sign. I miss that guy. I miss him because I loved his grammar.
I could easily just make that a location. Owner's risk.
Parked at,
remember that man.
Parking at owner's risk. For him, he parked there and he was
I'm
like...
actually annoyed at that.
No.
What do you mean?
But
Owner's risk.
That's the beauty. This was a hardcore Muganda.
That's true.
Who spoke Luganda. If you notice, anyone who tries to learn English language with a heavy indigenous language speaks English in their indigenous language.
Yeah.
Like you notice most Ugandans say, you are going where? Because that's how most indigenous languages
stresses me.
We'll be back, those things.
My God, we'll be back.
A phrase like, and you do what? You get like all of this is the local language being spoken in English.
Don't you see how original and nice it sounds?
Exactly. That's why
I just love people with proper local accents. So like I want to hear this.
That's why I don't get mad at people anymore. I'm like, listen, you are speaking your mother tongue.
I mean, yeah.
In a different language.
Sure.
I get it. I ain't mad. And it's something I had to wrap my head around. I'm like,
I'm still learning.
Do you, man?
I'm still learning, man.
Because even us from the north, we have phrases that when you translate them to English, people are like, what? Like there's a threat we have. Where you tell someone, like someone really pisses you off and you know you're not going to let it go.
Sure.
Tell them, Ole, I've kept you in the armpit and I won't stop sweating.
Oh my God.
That's the translation in English.
Of what you say.
In the local language. Like, what does this even mean? Like, you're going to keep me in your armpit and just sweat
all over me?
In other words, what you're saying is, we are not letting this go anytime soon.
That's
you are here.
True.
You are here. So it's those subtle things that I look at and I'm like, you guys, this is beautiful. Having all these languages where you just hear people.
that's a different way to look at it. It's true.
It's the easiest way to look at it.
The perspective matters.
It matters, but it comes with knowledge. Because until I started doing a Duke, I judged people for speaking English badly.
Right.
Then I listened to the French accent speaking English. I listened to the Spanish accent speaking English. I listened to the Chinese. I started listening to other people and I'm like, why are we guilty? Why do we feel bad?
And the whole world out there is butchering the
The
language.
whole world is butchering the language.
Moving on with their lives.
If anything, English has butchered more languages to create itself than anything. Most of the word like sovereign, that's French. A lot of English word, biological terms are Latin. Like there's so much taken from other languages to build this one.
To build English.
When Dr. Apollo Milton Obote the late says the situation is unlarable, I'm like, yeah, I agree with that word. Lar in my language means save. So
oh wow.
I'm like, yes, we go.
So
when you find a Muganda saying Yinginia, I'm like, yes.
Yinginia.
Starts with a Y.
Commander.
Commander.
Daniel, I want to ask you. You did stand up, then the hostel, then basically the underlying thing for me in all those things is content. And content has been evolving, especially content that we consume, comedy and all those things. How do you see it evolving right now, and where do you see it in the next couple of years, where it's going, especially when it comes to things like, for example, you shot your special. Is a point going to come where someone comes and is like, hey, look, Daniel, I'm willing to put like 50 mil down for your special to make it exclusive on my platform, things like that. Do you see, is that where it's going, or now it's more of like I create my platform, I own the content that comes from the platform. I don't, if Daniel has contributed to that content, he's not supposed to get anything because I paid him a performance fee. Like, how do you see content evolving?
I see we have grown to a point whereby there's so many ways you could put your content out there. The only obstacle is willingness.
And money.
There's money, but
where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
We sold the reality TV show to DSTV, and a number of clips and footage is phone footage.
Oh, wow.
We have phones that can rival cameras.
That's true.
Nowadays, 4K resolution.
Yeah, technology is doing
So
the
the
damn
money,
thing.
unless you really cannot afford a phone of any kind. I have a Camon 19. I'm not an iPhone person. I don't understand what Apple is doing. I'm not going to lie. Like, I've seen the same phone for years. What they've added is now you can pick the video and put it in another phone like this. I'm like, okay. But you have your phone. You have your home. You have your locations. You have your content. Record. I believe that's how TikTok became a thing.
Sure.
There's a whole conspiracy theory around it, but yes, I agree.
Besides the one of China.
You get it.
Destabilizing
Besides
America.
the data stealing and other things and others, but okay.
Yeah, because the TikTok version in China is very different from the one in America.
Yeah.
And China has more restrictions on their TikTok.
Yeah.
And the content you put there is more educative.
Yeah.
But I see us going into a place whereby I did my special, but I'm the one who organized everything as an individual. Because I knew if I put it under Comedy Store, respectfully, I would receive a different audience from the type I wanted. I would get numbers, crazy numbers, but I wouldn't get an audience.
Your
and
audience.
nothing hurts more than being on stage, having a lot of people who don't get what you're saying. It's painful. But where we're headed, the content is there. The content is not a shortage. People just need a way to air it and put it out there. So yes, if you can find comedians who can work with you and are willing to let go of certain content, work with them. But don't ask them for specials. Don't say, I want you to come and perform.
That's asking for too much.
That's asking for too much. You get for a first-time relationship. Unless
Wife
you're paying
benefits
them.
at a girlfriend level.
Hey, you're cooking chips for a family of 5.
Okay.
Balance that portion beans, man.
Okay.
Sukuma wiki, those things, juice, what? Hey.
People will be full.
People will be full. That is the plan.
That's the end goal. So
yes.
Speaking of platforms, you see that I see a lot of drama shows, shows you've been part of. are going to TV right now. Palm Magic is here, and I see a lot of Ugandan
Yes.
content. It's like something you pray for that is here, and a lot of content is on that show, on that TV.
Yeah.
So, what does that mean for now content as it is? The shows you're producing, Girl from Paro, then you're going to the reality show with still Anne Kansimen, a legend, I could say, in the industry.
That one
now,
is special.
now the content is taking another form. It's going to people's TVs, and it's huge. What does that mean for the creation process? It's talking about the content and how it's being bought. What does that mean for the industry as it is, for people who write, people who direct, the producers?
Oh no! First of all, for the industry, it means jobs. Everyone. Like, I think Prestige is the first time I've been on a proper retainer.
Wow,
Interesting.
it's a big show.
Proper
Prestige.
retainer. Yeah, and I got paid more for who I was than what I did because as a support character.
Yeah.
Good, but at the end of every month, I would walk to my account.
Money is money.
Money is money. It didn't matter how much they used me in the show. In fact, in times when I appeared less, I felt underutilized and overpaid.
Right.
In times when I showed up and represented proper, because there were moments when my story was with Margot was the dominant thing, right? There I felt underpaid. But at the end of the day, there was a nice balance struck in the negotiation process. So I knew what I was working for. I knew what I was getting. And I knew I'm going on set to film. And when I'm done filming, I don't need to be in post-production.
No.
I'm getting paid to act.
Sure.
Yeah.
And my role was clear. If maybe a writer told me, if you could change this in the script, or the director said, I need you to deliver this a little differently, that is a whole other thing. But I never felt pressured, like, oh, now you have to go and help in the editing process. No. It was beautiful. The editors, meanwhile, have like, Prestige was 3 seasons. We started filming in 2020. It ended this year.
Yeah.
Guys have had 3 years of retainers.
Wow.
Where you know you have your job.
That's
Job security.
Yeah.
It has given job security. It has created opportunities and
really,
a platform.
and a platform for people to be seen and
Yes.
be booked for other opportunities.
Yeah, because now we can debate over who the better producer is. Is it Nathan Magola? Is it the Nawizos? You get, who are we? Is it Dil Mandela? Like, we have those debates. Who's the best director for which kind of show?
Sure.
Is it Pam Kerieko or is it Manzi Alan? Like, there are these debates where now when we talk about the industry, we're not just talking about Matt Bish. Props to him, by the way.
A legend. Also
One
in
of the
his own right,
OGs. We're not just talking about Prince Kuyo or Patience Nitumwesiga. Like, what's Miriam Ndagire.
Mariam.
Props to them, Mariam Ndagire. Those are the legends of the industry.
Yeah, they are.
But just like any other art form, you need to move away from the pioneers and start discussing the industry in general.
Yeah, we have to grow.
So the same way, it has done wonders. This DSTV stuff, it has done wonders. It's nice allowing people to tell. I meet people and they're like, yo, but I wish Prestige had taken this direction in the story. And even you see it, but you realize the budget wasn't there. But it's nice to have them giving an opinion about the show and even critiquing it in comparison to another show and saying, I liked the way that one was shot. This one is not the same. As in, the character you played here is not as vibrant as this one. Like, people who are watching Prestige expect me to crack jokes.
Because that's what they know you for.
That's
right?
what they know me for. But they eventually adjusted to the serious character, the businessman, the calm guy with specs, and they accepted him. And they were like, he had a good story. Good time. So it's a step in the right direction, though we must navigate it carefully.
Very carefully.
Yeah, because like you said earlier, it's one of those things whereby you have a good thing and then other comics without mentoring, without the direction, just come and run everything for you. But speaking of platforms, I wanted to take it a little bit to music and then say hip-hop and R&B. And I would love to hear your views on this, where people really still feel like they lost Hot 100 and they don't speak enough on how they gained Radio City.
They lost Hawa Hanra.
Which one?
Hawa Hanra.
How 100?
You have to add the accent Hawa Hanra. It's like Idiot Point 2, Sanyo FM.
Yeah, so that's for me because this is a platform you guys have taken on. It's like you look at Palm Magic and you're like, people have it's like the joy you see when you're looking at from morning to the end of the day.
It's huge
It's
content.
just huge content.
Yeah.
And then artists still are struggling right now to say, I don't have enough
On
of my
the
music
music
being
side,
played.
yeah.
I don't have, and we keep wondering, why is this not that? But I'm like, everyone talks about in the yesteryears when music, hip hop and R&B was playing on Hot 100. I'm like, guys, there's Radio City right now. Have you guys not like taken it on the way you embraced Hot 100? Is it something that the artists are not appreciating or taking advantage of?
I think the hardest thing to do in Uganda is handle the mainstream. Honestly. And especially in music, because this is my theory about music in Uganda. The mainstream audience is stuck in early 90s Jamaica. Listen to all the Alien Skin, Bobby Wine, Bebe Cool, Camille. There has been this constant chipakumpa, ting, 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 ting. Like, that is majority.
In there, you have to throw in Nalmasi.
And then the voice comes in. Like,
They never moved on.
Everybody sounds like an early 90s Jamaican artist, and I understand that was the setting we walked into after a major war where the entire creative industry had been decimated, and we adapted what was hot at the time.
Yeah.
But 30 years later, I'm concerned that maybe the vibe needs to change.
Sure.
This is why I'm a big fan of Kenneth Mugabe, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Shout
I
out
like-
to Kenneth.
No, because Kenneth does Kadongo Kamu. Modern Kadongo Kamu.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
how I
that's what
see
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
It's modern
I
Kadongo
think
Kamu.
I think I've said it before. Like I feel he's a new age Eli Wamala.
Yes.
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 He's in that rank.
Yeah.
Like Navio
Yes.
said, in the league with Eli, Philly, Afrigo. He's up there with them.
Yeah, he's a huge.
The storytelling is on point, and it's a risk for you to step aside. Nava Gray, Lily Kadima. There's all these amazing artists who are just... And now we have this new generation, the Cohen JCs. We have
The Akines.
Joshua Baraka, the Akines. And look, you reach out to the audience you want.
Yes.
And you have to allow that you're not going to be accepted on day one.
No.
Consistency is the key. I always say fame is a byproduct of work well done.
Yeah.
I agree.
Consistently.
I agree.
So if your objective is to walk into the industry to be famous, you had better have the content to back up your ambition. Otherwise, if you walk into the industry to put out good material and great content, I think that's a more,
And I guess
it's less-
cultivate your audience.
cultivate your audience also.
We may...
It took a while. So it's work with the people you know. What I do comedy for people who think like me. My fellow lumpens, all of them. Yeah, people with the
Guy
crazy mind.
abused us.
I love you guys. Because I like stupid people. I like people who ask the dumb questions.
Yeah.
Because that's the basis of my entire comedy set.
Right,
I sit
right.
there and I'm wondering, where do baby kalolis go during the day? Sometimes I never see a baby kaloli. I never see a baby kaloli, a youth kaloli, a teenage kaloli. It's always these old guys who are losing hair with huge
That's
throats. actually,
actually true. I've never seen a baby one.
and doesn't it bother you?
Probably they have Kaloli daycare.
You see what I'm thinking? You get
Wow.
now. That's how the content is built. Because
it
not
really
seeing
is.
a baby kaloli, that's just you making an observation.
Right.
Now the humor comes into how
But-
deep are you going to go into that
Into
madness?
that, yeah.
And the
Yeah.
people who are crazy enough to keep listening to you when you start talking about where
Those
to
are
find
your
baby
people, eh?
kalolis, those are the people.
Those are your people.
Yes, because you're like, okay, baby kalolis. I'm thinking the one person I've heard saying they saw a baby kaloli. It was on the outskirts of Kampala. It was like in Boise, those ends. You get-
Not Wongsville.
Not Wongsville. Wongsville is not Kaloli territory. What are you going to do in
It's not
Wongsville?
Kaloli friendly.
Besides, even the trash is eaten by people. So,
People from Wongsville.
Wongsville has no chill.
No,
Man.
Wongsville people, it's not us.
Hey, it's one of you.
One of your people.
There's nothing
Yes.
to waste.
When you-
Wongsville, oh yeah, we can't afford to waste.
When you come for them,
The
come for
Kaloli
him
knows it's not
alone.
safe there.
Yeah, but what makes it dope is just the fact that you see this content growing.
Yeah.
And you're asking stupid questions and giving dumbass answers. Because for me, that's my creative process. I ask questions that a child would ask about a scenario. You get, like, the most basic thing. Like, has it ever occurred to you guys that Baganda and penguins have a lot in common? If you think about it. You ever seen a Muganda in a kanzu?
Oh my God.
Black on the sides, white in the middle, right?
God.
You seen a penguin?
Guys, and today Mark is wearing it.
Yes. And you know what's funny?
He's in France wearing a kanzu looking like a penguin.
You know what's funny? Even the way they walk. Because the kanzu limits leg movement. But like, there's that whole...
But I'm just saying you don't need even a kanzu to walk like a penguin.
He just is.
Say that.
Yeah, you are fired. One of you is fired.
I'm now picturing Koski, skipper.
Exactly. Just change their names. Sebulime, Kato, Mayanja. Put those guys there. And again, so the humor comes from the most basic things.
Yeah.
Like, it's just there. But once you pointed out the observation, now you have to go into where the funny is. Sure. And then you stay there and you just drag people into that component. Like me, I believe Kalolis who chill in the city trees. That's the working class Kaloli.
Yeah, like there's middle class somewhere.
That tree is an office. Now Makerere, you're at home.
That tree is workers' house.
Makerere is suburbs. The office is workers' house, Parliament Avenue, you know, all those things, right? Okay. That's why you don't see baby Kalolis in those areas.
This is working time. Yes. This is
like Makerere is like bachelor apartments for Kalolis. The city center is office space. Why say those ends is where the kids are left? Which means Kalolis have a job in the city. And my theory is their job is painting cars.
Makes sense.
Because you remember, you never parked a black BMW on Parliament Avenue.
And came back and found it all black.
It was decorated. Too fast, too furious. Need for speed. They pimped it up. That Kaloli goes home to his kids. Daddy's home. I say, how many cars did you paint today? I even painted a suit.
Bonus.
Some guy thought he could wear black and walk past my tree.
Threw in some extra.
He wasn't ready. So that's how. It's the most random observations.
Yeah.
True.
And you grow them into a set. And the people who think like you will go with you.
That's true. Yeah.
But the people who will be listening like, doesn't this guy have any better thing to talk about? No, I don't. Not now.
Not today.
Not today.
So, Danny.
Yes.
It's 2013.
The
tribe is writing an article about the most influential rappers. Now of your journal, everyone. And you on the other side, I think a girl called Christine, who you promised to marry 5 years later. What happened?
I'm trying to remember Christine. Let me see. Christine.
Producer Hassan was ready today.
What? Christine.
Hey.
Please call her by the name I know her by.
Which is?
I know the person I was dating at that time. I'm very aware. Christine is the last name I called her.
Look, like, I honestly feel like Hassan called up Omara's friends and family. I was like,
He did a whole week of recalling. Like,
how are we doing this? Like,
props.
This is the main host.
Well done.
Yeah, yes.
You guys are side characters in this movie.
Assistants.
No, as in a serious relationship for 3 years.
Yeah.
And she met the family, she met the parents who were good to go.
Okay.
Now, the universe, has other plans.
Yeah.
You know, but also, that's when I learned not to put my relationships out in public.
It's a good lesson.
Well, if you notice the pattern, that's the last time you heard about me being in a relationship.
Yes.
And it's not the last relationship you were in.
It's not the last relationship. But the media poo-pooed on the plot. And I learned.
Like Kalori.
Hey, the Kalori.
They put the Kalori.
They put the Kalori on you.
The Kalori on my relationship. They wrote about how I was dating my current girlfriend just to make my ex jealous. They wrote about how I was thriving in the relationship on drugs and alcohol.
Wow.
Wow.
Wrote about how I couldn't afford my check. Like they put
I feel like
somewhat.
Let me digress a bit. That's sort of a fate that anyone in the public space, especially in the entertainment space, is going to suffer.
Yeah.
You know? So like what are your lessons from such experiences, and what would be your advice, especially to young artists, young creatives, people who are up and coming, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Your private life, your sadness, your joy, your every single part of your life that you put out there is going to become entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
minimize the amount of information you put out.
Right.
Strive to be known for your talent.
Focus.
Yes.
Let's
and
see.
your achievements and your accomplishments. Because if you're known for your relationships, you're going to kind of end up like Rickman.
Okay.
Let me say it. Let me say, and this is not an attack.
Of course not. I get what you're saying. It's a sad truth.
What if it's God's plan to end up like Rickman?
You think you're funny. We've all said you're a comedian, now you think you're funny.
I wish I knew what Gashumba meant, because I think that would be the right response to that question. But the thing is, look, I have maximum respect for artists, right? But if you with all that talent, all you're known as is so-and-so's boyfriend, guys, there's a problem. You went wrong somewhere. It waters
down your talent.
It waters down your talent, because there's no shortage of talent with a guy like that.
No.
For sure.
It's superb, right? And truth be told, their relationship works for the media. And if you're the type of person who can handle it, and you're with someone else who can handle it and milk it,
you better be benefiting from it.
I won't. I was just never that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to report a relationship and say, oh, I'm dating so-and-so for clout. No. If I'm with you, I'm with you. I'm very comfortable being a bachelor and solo. So it's that kind. If you're okay with it. But remember, it makes it hard for you to establish future relationships. Because everybody who you might want to date is aware of how public your past is. So that's going to mess up on some terms. Like, it's going to be hard for you to date a lawyer, for example. They don't like the limelight. Teachers, there's certain categories of people who just want their privacy. So
you just want to be normal people.
That's what normal people. Yeah. So it's also why entertainers don't want to date fellow entertainers. You want to come home to a different life.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In Mark's absence, please allow me to say everyone who has supported the podcast on 624404. Thank you.
We thank you.
Send mobile money.
Yeah, continue supporting, continue sending something on there. We've discussed a lot, and from our intern producer, we are past our time.
Our main.
So, Omara, we are going to play a game. It's a guess the lyric game. So I read you lyrics of Ugandan songs.
How good are you with lyrics?
In what language?
I have some. Actually, I have Uganda.
Oh yeah.
But
let's go.
Yeah, so you guess the title and the name
The
of the
artist.
If you fail, you can choose any of these people, and if they fail, they have to put some command on 624404. So this one is easy, guys.
These days I come with change.
And this is easy.
These days I come with change. I'm just ready.
Kuchalo nze bamanyi Sitia nze owechiwago. And these feelings I have.
Cohen JC.
You didn't even give Dan an opportunity.
I'm not letting go.
No, please help me. No, help me. Help
not
me.
Not letting go.
Because I'm not going to lie to you guys. Me on my tongue, I had alien skin. When I had city, I was like, danger.
Bad manners. I'll let the guests try first. So but yeah, that's
the next one. The next one is also easy.
Another one.
I think these I chose for Damzi, not for the guests.
I swear I wasn't ready.
Consolation for my excessive failure.
Lwaki tonyamba n'obireka by'obeera okola n'oddeeka wandinsaaside n'ontaasa
n'otulonetebo.
I don't know why my brain is saying I didn't tell it. No. I know it's not, but when I had Jovera, I'm like, let me go with that. let me sneak into that plot.
Legend of the legends.
Hassan, who is he?
GNL. No.
GNL.
No, it's not GNL. It's not GNL.
It's a female artist.
Female?
Yeah.
How recent? Give me a timeline.
She's a legend.
She's a legend in the industry.
Irene, no, sorry.
Imagine, I knew the line, but then the person I thought
wasn't
is the exact opposite of the actual artist.
Juliana?
No.
Radio.
You thought
that's
radio?
What I mean. No, that's what I mean.
By
That's what I mean by
by radio by extension.
Radio
That
by
should be a good enough clue.
Lillian Mbaba. I was going for Irene, the other one, Namubiru.
Lillian Babazi Dagala.
Lillian Babazi deserves legendary status, no lie.
For sure.
Props.
So this one is easy, and it's the last one. And then if you don't get it,
and you do what?
Married to the game because I'm the best man. Let's be frank. She loved me because it's God's plan. Ask what my net worth. I'm trying to stack cheese, chase bread, screw beef. I'm on my food network. Yeah. This is easy.
For Dan.
Okay, there's just a few rappers with rock bars like that. Is that the myth?
No.
Even me, I'm out. But I know. For me, I think
Tucker.
I think there is a catch why.
I think I know who it is based on you, based on the fact that.
Play one?
Yeah, play one.
I like that. Yo, because
Yeah.
Which song is that?
More money, more problems. He did a refix of his own.
Yeah, that's fairly new. Okay, not fairly new, but it's one of those I haven't like.
I think it's one of those that sneaked under the radar because it's not a single. It's just like one of those.
It's not on any of his projects. It's one of those bars he dropped like while he was in Germany back in the day.
Yeah, so that's all for
Bars,
again.
though. Yeah.
Guys, all done this time.
You really did. I think Felix was tired of me embarrassing him. What?
No, that teacher
Can't
was
have
like,
this bad manners. Come by way,
let me just give you something so that your parents
Thank you for your
appreciate the school fees they pay.
Participation trophy.
Participation.
You imagine the day we do Lillian lyrics and Cohen lyrics, Mark is not around.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Lillian lyrics. I know a lot of songs. Lillian Babasi, right?
Yeah.
Been a fan of Lillian for the longest time. You people, I can't miss out on Lillian lyrics. I mean, even that song where the microphone showed up in a sugarcane plantation.
Where you are?
Where you are. I never understood that thing. Like, you're in a sugarcane plantation. Where's the microphone dropping from? Like, we're on a farm. Who rigged it?
Concept.
You know, she want me. Weasel, you smuggled things onto a sugarcane plantation. Yeah, but Lillian, Blue 3 in general.
Yeah.
The three of them.
They're all very, very
You know what I was thinking?
Very unique.
You know what I was thinking? Because Cindy versus Shiba, I was like, if I was given that money to do such a concert, how about I do a Blue 3 reunion?
For sure. A Blue 3
Because I'm sure the amount of money they spent on that. I'm not saying Shiba shouldn't get paid. She should get paid by all means.
Understood, yeah.
Oh,
But
she's unhappy.
like, do a Blue 3 concert reunion. Like, I feel like more mileage and everything for your.
Yeah, you do a Blue 3 concert and have like only female performers.
Yeah,
But
even
you feature
even bring them to your
feature
university, let them speak to
Vinka,
students.
You feature, that would be such a. Don't steal our ideas.
Travel like the way they did in
Don't steal our
2004.
ideas.
The
Yeah.
Blue 3 tour.
Yeah.
Like, the first time I saw Lillian, I was in school. I think she was my favorite in Blue 3. You get, because back then Cindy was the tiny chick, Jackie was the crazy looking one, and Lillian was the kind of chubby one, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, woo! And Lillian was the outgoing one. Like the van is driving off and she pops out of the sunroof like, wow! And the whole school went wild. St. Michael High School.
She's such a nice person.
She was such a free spirit. The other two were fairly conservative before then. So I was shocked when Cindy went into dancehall and Jackie went into
What she went into.
I don't have a name for it, but it was dope.
Yeah.
But I was shocked. I'm like, I expected
But it was
Lillian to
what?
be the one going there.
Yeah.
It was dope. You said it was dope.
I sniffed it. So I'm like, these are my things, man.
You know what? Take us away because
You're going to just. Felix has decided he's a comedian.
Props to Blue 3. Props to Blue 3. Like me, anyone who pioneered a section or even just a group or
Yeah.
anyone who dares to put themselves out there and face the criticism and continue to do genuinely good work. That's my message to the new generation.
And the longevity of it. I mean, you can't take that for granted. She's been doing this for a very long time. She's amazing at what she does. She's one of my favorite artists in Uganda.
Yes.
Yes.
And the music she makes is for chill vibes.
Us, actual
Chill
adults.
ones. Yet I expected
Anyhow.
Lillian to be the one doing pomni. So, no, as in back in the day, I didn't know about vocal prowess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had no idea.
Just based on personality. She
Personality.
looked like she was giving off.
Yes, I did not expect it from Cindy. I swear. I wasn't ready for Cindy to be the dancehall artist. In fact, I was disappointed initially. Then I'm like, but first wait. This is dancehall with vocals.
Yeah.
I'm for it. Let's go.
Why not?
Then Lillian is dropping a different vibe. You know that thing, cocktail party chill. Keep it moving. They do that sour kawa. I really want Jackie back in the field. I miss Chandiru.
I think she will get back into it.
Same.
I think that she's been doing some work based on what I've seen.
Me, I think Blue 3 should be represented by a silhouette, not faces. A silhouette. of the three. Like the way you play video games and you have those characters you need to unlock. That's how I feel about Blue 3.
And it's not even a challenge to pick out who is who in the silhouette. You're like, I really
you
can't know who they
you
are
can't fail to
just
pick them
by
out.
seeing that.
Yeah.
So
Now that's how you know you've branded yourself well. Of course,
They did.
not
They
Blue
did.
3 with Maya. I love Maya. Lovely person.
Moving on
The
very
original Blue
swiftly.
3.
Moving
original.
on very swiftly. Anywho, so Daniel, we like to end the episode on a very
Good
friendly note.
I don't want. I want violence.
We like to end it on a friendly note, friendly, fun note. I tend to ask very pointless questions, very pointless would you rather questions. But I think it's a very good way for us to get to know each other and get to judge each other, Loki or not. So I will start very simple as always. You can only listen to one song for the rest of your life. Right? Would you rather it is Enomike by Ziggy D or Frontline by Peter Miles?
That's easy for me. That's be
easy
no
for
mind.
me.
Okay, you guys. First of all, I didn't know the title of that song was Frontline.
But you know that song.
I know the song and I was hearing something completely different. And when I found out the title, I was like, oh my God, I've been saying this wrong.
What were you
You
saying?
thought it was which title?
I didn't know. I'm not. Guys, I'm sorry.
Wow.
This is why don't hang around with your Baganda friends when you're listening to new music. That's what I got.
From the way they
How
pronounce
does it proceed?
I don't even.
I'm trying to connect
I'm
it to
so
the next
confused.
line.
You know the stage. What are the lyrics? Let's go through the lyrics.
Frontline, we not surrender, brand new agenda.
Now that's the verse, right? Now the chorus.
That's the.
Kubidako Frontline.
Fewe tuli.
That's it together. Tumanije tuvaneje together. Tukubidako.
Like he knows where he came from and where he's going. He wants to.
Oh my God.
That's. You could easily miss it. So I didn't know it was Frontline.
Wow.
But I loved the song.
Wow.
But I'm not going to pretend.
Because
For you, it's Enomike.
No, I'm not going to pretend. I'm torn on this one.
No, first line.
Enomike represents Frontline production wise as a song.
I was a huge. I always argued with my brother. He was a huge Bebe Cool fan. I was like, "There's nothing you can tell me." Peter Miles is
Peter
the
Miles
god.
is-
like
Yeah.
there's nothing you can tell me. So Peter Miles, when I was in high school, it's
Props
like
to Peter Miles.
Yeah.
Peter Miles-
There's nothing you could tell me.
Peter Miles was ahead of his time.
Yeah,
Because
very
his
much.
beats were not pakumpa, except for what was that thing combination? Peter Miles with the what? East African Bashment?
Yeah.
I think it weakened him actually. He was stronger solo or with Mention.
With Mention, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
With Mention, yeah.
And I like Mention had the simplest role in music history. Repeat what Peter Miles says in a deeper voice. Japan, when he come to home every
But
time.
if he did have-
living in bloom.
But if he didn't have that deeper voice, he would have gotten the gig.
If you
He
did
would
have a
not have
deeper
put on the
voice,
gig.
Yeah.
that was the
Mention,
That's the
Mention is
value
an
proposition.
example of using what you have to get what you want.
Yeah.
And me, if anyone figures that out, I'm
Props
on their
to
team.
you.
I think if
Props
it's
to
basketball,
you.
he was a role player. This is your role.
do it.
Do it well.
Cheerleader. He was
So-
the mascot.
Enomike or Frontline.
Frontline is a better song, but Enomike has far more memories.
So Enomike for you.
I think
Enomike.
that is choosing.
I'm torn.
It's choosing.
You have
I'm
to
choosing nostalgia.
It's
I'm not
choosing
gonna lie.
Frontline because of where it's going.
You have to pick.
Yeah, that has ears of which have a mind of their own. Like on your head, your ears have their own brain.
My ears and my eyes have issues. Ask Play One, I have a problem. Sometimes I'm really smart, other times I'm just really dumb. Like, Play One will never stop laughing at me. We were driving by a building. This is way back, 2015. We were driving by a building and he sees, you know how they put on buildings? EST 1943.
Yes.
Yes, established.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, me, I thought it was French for since. Play never forgave me. Because me, I thought it was since 1945. Est was French for since. When the guy said established, I was like, wait, what? This is a thing? I'm like, no wonder there's no accent above the E. Now it makes sense. Like,
Yeah, and your selective intelligence.
I have blonde moments. You get
Dabsy,
bad
which
ones.
song will it be for you?
That's a very hard one.
Thank you.
But Frontline Frontline is.
So I'm like,
We're calling it by the new title.
you know, my guys, I'm like the only, yeah, new title. I'm the only guy.
Mike. Mike is a classic.
I think we should, but guys, like, if you had to pick between the two, like, please, these are just.
Frontline is a far more superior song in terms of production,
sure.
delivery, and performance. I won't even argue. My goodness, that is a jam.
Yeah.
Mike, though, that represents my teen life.
That's a fire jam also.
Anywho,
next question, and this one is not for me because I could care less. I feel like it applies more to you guys because you're guys. Would you rather be the best player in the worst team? So think, I don't know, Premier League or whatever things you guys watch. Would you rather be the best player in the worst team or the worst player in the best team?
Best player in the worst team. Yeah.
Best is best.
Best is best. I mean, if you're number one at the bottom.
So technically, it's would you rather be a smart student in a dumb class or
dumb student in a smart class?
I mean, semantics, but same.
I disagree. I think I would be the worst player in the best team. These are my reasons, and I think I've had this for sports. I've looked at maybe let's say basketball, the NBA, the best players who really just stuck with the bad team, and I'm like, you could really have achieved, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I'm like, it's roles. Best players, you ride to. I feel like things like championships and trophies, define careers, define legacies. If I'm thinking that, I'm like, if I'm the worst player on the best team, they thought me important enough to be part of them.
To still be on the best team.
So if you're the best player, it's like that one thing, like you're the king of the hill, but you can never play in the big leagues. So it's like that's what I would look at it like. Okay. I'm like, you're really good, and you're always humbled. It's like one of those things when you're in P7, you're running the school.
Then you reach the
richest one, and you're like at the bottom. Would you rather go back to primary or stay in secondary? Like, it's one of those questions you ask yourself. Right. It's like always an elevation if you're I feel like it's an elevation if you're the worst on the best team.
To be fair, you could be the best player on the worst team and be a mid-level player in the best team. But it's highly unlikely that you could be the worst player on another team and then be the equivalent of the best on the worst team.
You won't actually be the equivalent of the best on the worst team. You will just win more. So there are guys
with the team.
I would just win one. I'm like, I have 5 Champions League trophies, and you have what?
So you're okay being a carry-on?
You really am.
It works, man. I understand. At least you're honest about
it. What's your answer?
Me? I would be the best player on the worst team.
Okay.
I'll build that team.
I'd rather masquerade in the good ones.
It's all of you, all of you.
Hey,
it's a VIP.
You know,
as if.
Be there.
We're like, let's go for the ride.
Okay. I don't know how many more questions. I have like 2 more. Would you rather end world hunger or find a cure for cancer?
I'll find the cure for cancer.
Why? Why that option?
Curing cancer and world hunger, I think the priority should be cancer.
Okay.
Because hunger causes cancer.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay.
Hunger is basically brokenness. Like, think about it. You can't afford to eat the right amount of food you want, right? Your stomach is eroding. Next thing you know, you have colon cancer because, the enzymes kept messing with your stomach lining. You got ulcers, that stuff escalated, and now it's stomach cancer. The problem is hunger.
So you'll cure cancer, but I'll still be hungry.
No, you work, man. Like me, you know there's a cure for cancer. Like, if I found out the cure for cancer, I would probably dish it out for free because I've lost people to cancer, so it's personal to me.
Right. Yeah.
I'll dish it out for free. You can't solve world hunger because someone will always choose to do nothing and be hungry. That's the problem. If you say you're going to solve world hunger, it means giving food to people.
Yeah, that's what technically.
You can't.
Okay.
You can't. There's fewer cancer patients than hungry people. I'm trying to solve one problem at a time because we have lost so many constructive people to cancer.
Not to hunger.
Not to hunger.
Hassan.
Okay, I would be a little bit selfish and say I'm going to try to do both by curing cancer and being a capitalist to be rich enough to feed
Please,
the guys.
can you not set your own question? No, I'm sorry. No,
but okay, again,
don't set your own question.
I'll still go for the cancer because I feel like hunger can be cured if people cared. Just caring, but cancer is still a challenge. I think it's a challenge. I think we have enough food for everyone not to go for everyone to have food. Just has to be. If we wanted to distribute and not worry about people not working hard enough, there are people who are really. You don't have food, and you're like, I really worked hard today. I already made it. So I wouldn't blame hunger on mostly people being lazy, but I'm like, if it was ditching out food, I think the world can afford to feed everyone. But cancer is a challenge. It's not like people are holding back their cures. It's like something
giving intelligent answers.
I just want to be the cure for cancer.
For me, I would cure cancer.
Right.
Because I want every person who has cracked that hungry munyanko is called hunger to be hungry a bit more.
So dead.
Because that's my name, so they joke around.
Others are giving serious answers. You're here in petty
I want them to be a bit more hungry than they are right now.
This guy has beef with DJ Chapat.
You see, Natsville on this podcast has told people to be petty.
Yes,
for sure. By the way, for sure. There's no room for lack of pettiness. There's always room for pettiness. He really has.
Felix understood the assignment.
So that's interesting. When I wrote down this question, I was thinking of wild hunger because I was like, guys, hunger is bad. Too good. Like we talked about it in the last episode. When you're hungry and you start shaking, like hunger is bad.
It's savage.
But like I get what you mean when you say, because cancer is harder. You know, like if we shared, we can solve hunger small. So yeah, I guess I would definitely rather cure cancer. Okay, last question. Would you rather have a morally questionable job, like an OnlyFans account, that pays well, or one that helps a lot of people but doesn't make much money?
I have to make booty on. That's the bottom line.
The OnlyFans, eh?
We have to make money.
Yes.
Well, as someone who watches porn as a critic,
someone from Natsville.
From Natsville. We people of Palm Store. I would take the one that helps people.
Really?
Yeah, because weirdly, look, for me at the end of the day, most of the things I've done have been about helping people. And I've made more money helping people. I've never charged for mentorship, but someone's going to book a gig for you and be like, oh no, get Danny. Because your students know people and they're going to make those people aware of you. So I have honest people I've mentored who are like, man, they gave me a gig, but I wasn't ready for it.
So I'm going to give it to you.
So I've passed it to you. You score that money.
Okay. So you'll just continue being a critic. You don't want to...
I don't want to participate in the porn.
Okay, all right.
Also, the stress that comes with an OnlyFans account.
I can only imagine, yeah.
Generational curses.
Generational curses.
Sketchy jobs, what?
Hassan, what's your answer?
I don't think like this is hard for me. And I'm like, why would I have a questionable job? I don't think there is a reason I would do.
You'd ever go to there's not enough money to make you do questionable work.
You're not broke enough.
I mean, you imagine an assassin.
I feel like everyone.
Actually, yeah, assassin. Okay, let's go away from OnlyFans. Assassin.
I still wouldn't. I'm thinking.
You're changing your mind.
Or just buy a suit and the red tie. Just feel like that guy in Hitman. Like,
who are we killing? Depends.
Whoever they tell you, when they contract you for that job, they tell you this is the guy. Go and kill Bruce.
We won't have a show without Bruce. Let me help people.
I still feel like I always feel like jobs are one interesting outlet to be passed on to like younger generations.
Yeah.
It's like if you can't try to explain to your child what you do.
Yeah.
You find it hard.
If you find it hard to explain to your child what you do, I think
honest.
I think it's always easy. People always will find it easy that my child is too young. I don't need to worry about something
get
like
older.
that. Maybe until then you realize I can't tell them. Now the world has to. They have to figure. I think that's one parenting thing that people underlook, but I feel like it's one thing that would be important to like just be able to explain what you do to your
Guys,
child.
Hassan
No,
has
the
brought
question
magazine.
for like boxers.
Okay, with my petty answers, they have changed. When Hassan talks, you just think
Like-
about it. You're like, pardon.
Yeah, like boxing is a legit sport, but it's hard to explain to your kid that I hit people for a living.
I don't think it.
So
no.
imagine
I think
if
with
you're
boxing,
an
because
assassin.
it's a sport,
Uh-huh.
it's a little easier. You're not just hitting people, but like let's say you are killing people. Like they're giving you jobs, and so you first go and kill Hassan.
It's also a sport.
Just tell the
That's
kid.
not a sport.
Killing for sport.
You just-
the fact that you survived
You
it
just
is an
tell the kid,
athletic
I take out the
activity.
trash.
Actually, take out the trash.
Hey. You know, the assassins never have legit names. They call themselves the cleaner,
Hey.
the solution provider, the fixer.
Hey.
Those are things. So, yeah, man. Okay, not that I want to be an assassin. Me, I'm just saying.
No, I
it
think
would be a weird life to live because
think-
nightmares.
I think by principle, for me, I've always tried to look for work that I feel has an impact. Yeah, I would like a lot more money, but even good like.
Prostitution has impact. I'm not saying go into it.
Like societies are
Just,
built on
just
it.
a mile away.
The oldest profession. This
Yeah.
thing is older than police
Yeah, it just keeps evolving.
and the legal system. Yet the first thing to happen in humanity was like judgment. Like they would
Yeah.
judge for biting an apple and messing around in the garden. Prostitution didn't even exist then. But it outdid every other profession in the terms of
And has
timeline.
outlived it.
It has outlived it. So me, when I hear police arresting
appreciate
prostitutes,
your
I'm like, respect
recommendation,
your
but
elders.
no.
These
That's
people
it
run
for
an
my
entire
question.
economy.
Guys, that's it for this week. Daniel, thanks for coming through.
My pleasure.
Hassan, thanks for holding it down. Hassan.
Did that.
Hassan brought
Hassan.
Mark.
back to my-
I think you are not coming back. Yeah.
Who's son Hassan?
You guys are the same height, so we can just kuza word, be and word. So it's kawa, just stay those.
Meanwhile, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever met a Muslim from northern Uganda? I'm just speaking of observation, random. Like
So
think
I've
about
not met, but
This is a-
I assume Moses Ali is a Muslim. Like that's literally the only Muslim.
that is West
Arua
Nile.
is the one.
He- oh, okay,
this is
okay,
West
okay, okay,
Nile.
so it's
I was going
different.
to say Arua. I've been to Arua.
Okay.
And it's one of those places. But we arrived in the morning. I'm like, there are mosques here. Because I'm like, because it's a whole Muslim culture going on there. So I was
See,
like,
even Lira and
Northern
Gulu.
Uganda.
Northern
You guys-
Uganda, there are mosques, but well, we just don't see Muslims.
Yeah.
Like you don't
You
run
see
into
the
a
buildings,
guy.
don't see the
You
people.
see the building. You even see the people around it, but you never run into them. You don't meet a guy called Ojok, Sadiq, Ongom Mohammed. Like you don't meet a Hajati Angwech. Like it's random, right?
Interesting. I guess Christianity took stronger roots back then.
Possibly.
That's literally the only explanation.
Or it just sounds funny when you put a Muslim name next to a Luo name.
There's that too. There's that too. Anywho, thank you
Omara
guys.
Hassan.
Thank you guys. It's been so dope. Thank you for thank you, Daniel, for accepting our invite.
Happy to be here, man.
Guys, if you are watching, listening, please like, subscribe, share.
Yeah.
Let's get this content to as many people as possible. The code is
624404.
that is.
if you would like to support.
624404. Max.
Daniel,
What
thanks
is it for?
coming
Is
through.
it your Yakamita number? What are we doing?
That's a Momo code.
Oh, snap.